In the bustling suburbs of Chicago, life moved at a frenetic pace, with everyone caught up in their routines. Among these lives was Daniel, a 35-year-old corporate executive who prided himself on his role as the provider for his family. Daniel believed his long hours and six-figure salary were more than enough to keep his household running. His wife, Emily, often tried to express how neglected she felt, how he seemed indifferent to her and their two young children. But Daniel would dismiss her concerns with a cutting remark. "I work hard to give this family everything. If you're unhappy, leave. This house needs me, not you." Emily stopped arguing. Her silence wasn't agreement. It was the weight of her reality. Where could she go? Even in a modern American suburb, societal pressures lingered. The whispers about a woman leaving her family would follow her everywhere. Swallowing her pain, Emily continued to care for her children, her husband, and the home, masking her exhaustion with forced smiles and quiet endurance. One snowy morning, Emily woke up with a splitting headache and chills coursing through her body, but life didn't pause for her. She pushed herself to prepare breakfast, pack the kids' lunches, and see them off to school. Daniel noticed her pale face as he grabbed his coffee mug. "You should see a doctor," he said nonchalantly, barely looking at her before walking out the door. By mid-afternoon, Emily's fever had worsened. She struggled to get up from the couch, her body aching with every movement. When she called Daniel, her voice barely a whisper, he replied, I'll grab some medicine on my way home." He did, placing the pills on the counter when he returned. But that was the extent of his effort. He didn't notice her trembling hands as she tried to open the bottle, or her tears as she collapsed back onto the couch, overwhelmed by her growing weakness. That night, as Daniel ate dinner prepared by his mother, who lived with him, Emily stayed in bed, unable to move. Daniel's mother muttered, "This house doesn't need her. Everything will run just fine without Emily." But that night, nothing ran fine. The children cried for their mother's warmth, and the tension in the house thickened. Emily lay awake, clutching her stomach, unable to sleep as the fever consumed her. The next morning, Daniel left for work without checking on her. He was the provider after all, but by midday, Emily's condition had spiraled out of control. She was too weak to call for help, and her mother-in-law finally called Daniel, urging him to come home. Frustrated at being pulled away from a meeting, Daniel begrudgingly returned. When he saw Emily unconscious and struggling to breathe, panic gripped him. He rushed her to the hospital, but it was too late. Emily was gone. The woman who had silently carried the weight of a thankless life, who had been told time and again that she wasn't needed, had left for a place where she was free from pain. In the days that followed, the house descended into chaos. Daniel couldn't find his files, his clean shirts, or even a matching pair of socks. The children, heartbroken, cried constantly, clinging to the memory of their mother's gentle touch. Even Daniel's mother, who once claimed the house didn't need Emily, struggled to manage the simplest tasks. Meals were missed, laundry piled up, and silence heavier than any argument filled the house. One evening, as Daniel sat alone in the living room, surrounded by the remnants of his once perfect life, he stared at a photo of Emily. Tears streamed down his face as he whispered, "This house didn't need me. I needed her." This story serves as a stark reminder of the invisible sacrifices made by those who silently hold families together. Emily's tragic death highlights a truth we often overlook. Relationships cannot thrive on financial contributions alone. Mutual respect, care, and emotional support are essential. In a society that glorifies productivity and monetary success, it's easy to undervalue the quiet labor of homemakers and caregivers. Their contributions may not come with paychecks, but they form the backbone of every family. We must learn to appreciate their efforts, acknowledge their struggles, and support them before it's too late. Life is fragile, and regrets cannot bring back lost moments. Let us strive to nurture the bonds we share with our loved ones and ensure that kindness and gratitude are not left unspoken. A family thrives not just on material wealth, but on love, respect, and understanding. If you find this story interesting and learn a lesson that helps improve your life, please like and leave your comments below.